Hello dear friends, this is a video for September 2021. At the beginning we will say which are the most important transits and aspects, and then we will especially talk about the Virgo-Pisces axis, because lunar activity this month is related to those two signs. And in the end I will only mention briefly each sign of the zodiac. So, new moon is at the 7th of September in Virgo, and full moon is on the 21st of September in Pisces. Let's mention other important transits. For example, the Sun is in Virgo until the 22nd, and then it's in Libra. Mercury is in Libra all month. From the 27th, Mercury is retrograde in the same sign, and it will be retrograde until the 19th of October. Then Venus is until the 10th in Libra, then is in Scorpio. So Venus is in better position first 10 days of September. Mars is until the 15th of September in Virgo, and after that in Libra. So Mars is in better position until the 15th of September. And all major planets are retrograde. As there are many retrograde planets, those big giant planets as they say, that means that as a collective we need to learn something that happened in the past. But Mercury is interesting this month because it will be quite a long time in Libra. Actually, Mercury will be in Libra from August 31st until the November the 5th. And it will be retrograde in one period. It's all the time in Libra. Since Mercury is the planet that determines how we perceive reality, we can say also how we think, but that's a simpler way of seeing it. It is about that, how we perceive reality. So somebody perceives the reality through feelings, somebody by thinking rationally, or somebody intuitively, and so on. So as Mercury is important, it's retrograde and all the time in Libra, and that is very important planet for our daily communication. That means that the archetype of Libra is very pronounced in late summer and most of the autumn. Soon the Sun will be in Libra, and you have heard that Venus and Mars are also in Libra this September. And what is Libra, we have to ask. So Libra is a sign of reconciliation of opposites, of balancing, of good judgment and diplomatic treatment. Although Libra also has its shadow, which does the opposite as every shadow. Still in September, we see her better side. In September and partly in October, we see better part of Libra. Great efforts will be made to overcome contradictions and for people to agree. This is what Libra will do on mundane level, and many of us will feel that in our personal lives. Let's now look together the most important aspects during September. From September to the 2nd until the 5th, there are more tense aspects than positive ones. Especially, it's notable here the opposition of Mars and Neptune, which always bring great confusion, creates imaginary problems, misdirect people, and or the whole collective, and so on. So it is a time of confusion. With this aspect, health issues can be addressed in a wrong way. Pay attention to that. It is an aspect that causes shame due to inadequate sexual behavior, as it can bring to light scandals of that type, and we all see many of those scandals in the last year and a half especially. On the 5th of September is going to happen the opposition of Venus and Pluto, which tensions intimate relationship, and on the mundane level helps us to reveal scandals of various kinds. Yet, the trine between Mercury and Saturn at the same day provides enough good energy to calm down and to rationalize relationships especially. This aspect also has a positive effect on Libra and Aquarius, if you want to speak generally of the signs. Of course, everything depends on personal horoscope, but generally speaking, it can be good for Libras and Aquarius. It further draws attention to the fact that the 6th of September has a lot of significant aspects that are mostly positive, fortunately. So around the 6th, there are quite many good aspects. It is a great day for some sort of action, for change, for negotiation, whatever. It will affect whatever people need to do. This is like a doing aspect. It will affect Earth signs. You most probably know that Earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And also it will positively affect Libra and Aquarius people. All these aspects are related to the new moon in Virgo. I will say a few things more later about Virgo and Pisces, but just to know that around the new moon it is quite positive energy. Further, from 16th to the 20th of September, we have mostly good aspects that bring regenerative energy and happy circumstances, especially to children or students or those who are engaged in education. The question can be whether the classes will be online in the fall or not. Will kids go to school or not? It is very hard to answer that, but probably there are going to be many manipulations during September, and we will really know what is going to happen with schools in October. From October on, we will have some sort of a program, and of course it depends a lot on us which type of program we want to accept. So on the 22nd and 23rd, we have tense aspects that are marked by scorpionic energy. So the passion and the feelings are mostly hidden. And of course, until the moment of explosion, which will obligatory happen on the 23rd of September. These aspects are also related to the full moon. So when I will be speaking about full moon, I take in consideration also this tension. You will hear about that later. On September 25th, Mars is going to be in Libra and makes trine to Saturn, which means that the energy of warriors and initiators of war is controlled. Very good one. So finally, at the end of September, on the 29th, the Sun in Libra will aspect Saturn in Aquarius, which speaks of happy end of the month and of acknowledging wisdom, especially wisdom of the elder people. Also, it speaks about achieving much by structuring and by doing intelligent work, and so on. It's a very good aspect. So I'm very happy about this one because I think it will bring a success at work and recognition of authorities for many. And this also aspect brings good relationship with fathers and older people. And at the mundane level, it makes reasonable suggestions of wise diplomats. So let us hope that this aspect will indeed have a positive effect on the development of political world events in general. It is also important because in September, energy will be more and more confusing and manipulative as we approach the end of the month. Especially after the 20th, this manipulative energy starts around the full moon. So we said that the new moon is going to happen on the 7th of September in Virgo. And of course, it will have great impact on Virgo people who have planets in Virgo also. And they start new 1-year cycle with this new moon. So I wish to all of Virgos a very happy birthday and a happy new life cycle, 1-year cycle. And on the other hand, Pisces complete a 6-month cycle and makes a summary of the events that happened in the last 6 months. And they do that rather in exalted state because of the situation around the full moon. So the full moon is happening, as we said, on the 21st in Pisces, which means that September opens the axis of health, which is usually typical for this time of the year. So Virgo and Pisces are the axis in astrology of psychosomatics. On this axis, we learn that everything that happens to the body is related to the state of mind. It would be wrong to say that Virgo speaks about the psyche of people. It is not that exactly, It is more precise that it speaks about spiritual layer of our being. This is Pisces. So astrologically speaking, the only real way of healing is through a holistic approach. Man must be seen as a whole in all his complexity, so as a spiritual, energetic, and physical being. Not to mention that the human being has other layers. Let's just stick to those basic ones. So if one wants to heal, he has to heal all of those at the same time or take them all in consideration. Virgo and Pisces symbolize healing, but each sign speaks about healing or has, in a different way, has different approach. And all of those signs have, both of those signs have positive and negative sides. Virgo, for example, heals in a positive way by using natural medicine, herbs, and food. Food is here in this world for healing, which Chinese medicine knows very well. But the Western medicine, of course, ignores that in big part. So, but what is the negative side of Virgo? While it's in negative manifestation, Virgo exaggerates with hygiene, so everything turns out to not to be natural, because if Virgo uses its negative side, then it cleans everything in that much that nothing is natural anymore. And then Pisces heals in a positive way, holistically, intuitively, but in its negative manifestation, they poison people with chemical drugs and drugs of all kinds, and they create addictions, this negative manifestation of Pisces. So we could now see the negative side of Virgo, disinfecting everything and everyone, and introducing passports for vaccinated people, and forbidding others to move, to go to the shops and like. But nowadays, if we would like to use this positive side of Virgo, we would turn to nature. This would be the best way to go out of this, what is happening, going back to nature. So we now see a lot of also negative side of Pisces, Piscean energy. It is the violent offering of untested methods of treatment and the potential secret, be careful, Pisces is secret, so potentially secret destruction of people by chemicals, by using chemical drugs. While the positive side would be spiritual awakening and rejection of everything that limits human spirit and human body. You know? So this is our situation now. I see I'm back into the nature. This is nature here, what I'm shooting. So the full moon in Pisces will occur in a broader conjunction with Neptune, which is in Pisces from 2012 to 2026, which is a very and the most significant transit actually that we are experiencing now. And I talked about that in my older video. It's on YouTube, and the name of it is Neptune in Pisces, something else later. You will find it there. And also in many other videos, I mentioned Neptunian energy, especially last year and in this year. In this year, for example, in my March and June or July video, I spoke quite a lot about Neptune and also about mythological stories that are corresponding with this energy. So I hope that through these interpretations of Neptune, you could better understand what this means for us in our time. However, now I want to mention Neptune in another context. And thus the energy of Pisces will be also clear to us now in a new way. And now, of course, I want to speak about that because we have this full moon in Pisces, which is not, which has quite challenging aspects. So, namely, one of the first astrologers who said that some sort of new and mutated viruses would appear during the time when Neptune will be in Pisces is Marcus Jale. And I mentioned often Marcus Jale's work in my videos, maybe you heard about him. And he warned us that we as a humanity will be challenged with difficult time because In the year 1993, Neptune and Uranus made a conjunction in Capricorn at the 19th degree. And this cycle of Neptune and Uranus will be exhausted only until 2065. So we have 172 years of this cycle, which is potentially bringing all of this actually that we see already. It is noteworthy to say that this conjunction takes place in Capricorn, which is the sign of governments, of ministers, of those structures who are legal. So this is the sign of legal governing structure. And you see that now they want to make everything legal. It is legal to poison people. It is legal to do that to people. It is legal to have such passports that enables people who are not vaccinated to enter into the shops and so on. Everything is like legal. So this pressure that we feel is coming through Capricornian energy. This conjunction that happened in Capricorn in 1993 of Uranus and Neptune is, according to Marcus Jale, the conjunction that symbolizes the most so-called globalization. It further signifies social reforms and great social unrest and secret revolution. Also, the emergence and mass uses of synthetic drugs, also, it is the conjunction that simulates life with virtual instruments, internet, and so on, and brings new medicines, new drugs that use as a medicine, which have paradoxical effect, as Marcus Jale says. And unfortunately, this conjunction talks about inventing of the diseases, and then later on inventing of the medicines which will cure these invented diseases. Because such medicines, pharmaceutical industry can produce in unlimited quantities. And this is some sort of a fascism that is introduced to us through pharmaceutical industry, I have to say at the end, of course. Let us add that Jale warned that this combination significantly influenced the development of digital technology, and he said that it will create imaginary images that will come also through modern media and create a man who will be dependent on those medias and internet and such virtual images. He was thinking primarily of dependence also on exciting news that come through media and through internet. And all of this potentially can cause disorders in the human brain and human nervous system. So when one creates a man who is addicted to media propaganda and to virtual life, then it is very easy later on, be careful now, to scare such a man with cyber attack or with cyber terrorism, as they call it, or just some sort of attack that will come to through computer viruses, for example, which is also happening to us, but not in a big extent. Now they speak about that this can happen in a big extent. So imagine what it would be like if it happened to a greater extent, that we have some cyber attack. And they speak about that. Maybe we will experience it. So I remind you, we said that the conjunction of Uranus and Neptune is happening in Capricorn. So we can assume that all of those topics we mentioned are realized by government and governing structures, of course. Or in other words, those who are in power use the mentioned strategies to stimulate false world and to create fictional images, and thus disrupt a healthy human life. Even today, the expression was created that we live in a time of post-truth, which is especially dangerous thing. So it will be necessary to interpret this concept, and I think I will do it once in my videos. Because truth is very important. Truth is one of the God's attributes. And today's technocrats create chaos in which it seems that there is no truth, so that they can control souls and hearts of people, like truth does not exist. for them. But truth exists. The question is how we will perceive it in the future. So let's ask ourselves now, in a world like this, in which media poisons person every day and keep him constantly in a position of dependence of new and new exciting news, can someone stay normal in this state? It doesn't matter if now we speak about a man who follows official news and listen only about illness and endangerment and thus constantly experience fear, or is in a state of anticipation and maximum excitement that he will die soon, perhaps because of dangerous disease. That's one man. Or we can speak about someone else who follows other type of news that are on internet that challenges the official narrative. And the second one is constantly learns about that, how psychopaths and dangerous people are leading us somewhere or ruling the world. Both, this doesn't matter who we speak about, both of those people are in danger, because the second one also, not just that he's listening and watching that how crazy people are leading the world, but he also all the time expects that something will happen. So when these bad people will be punished and some golden age will come, some fantastic new life will come when those will be punished, So both of those men have problem because they both of them depend on media, then depend on news, while the former seeks cure to his disease, potential disease, the later one longs to that new happy life that will come. So both of people are exposed to a continuous simulation of the state that they may have nothing to do with the reality, So both of them are potentially in the world of some sort of images and stories that maybe have nothing to do with their own reality, I want to say, and reality maybe in general. So, Neptune and Moon in conjunction in the time of full moon and aspects to Sun, Mars, and Pluto ask a very serious question. And the question is, who is healthy and who is sick and which disease is at the stake here? Of course, the answer that arises is it is some sort of a soul disease. They call it also in English mental disease, but this is the disease of a soul, and this is a collective disease. We can say it simply like that. That is why many today ask themselves, am I normal? Interestingly, this is more often asked by those who try not to submit to the hypnotic energy of virtual images and stories. So why them? Well, because they have a distance, and they are the ones who are maybe healthier than the collective is. But in this mass of the hypnotized people, they look as it's something wrong with them. But it is not like that, of course. It is exactly the opposite. The collective is hypnotized, though can have potentially very important soul disease. And then there are these individuals who look different and they question themselves. However, this is primarily a disease of the collective, and collective now is strongly unconscious. This is because of Neptune in Pisces. And we can also assume, of course, that collective is brought into this unconscious state purposely. That somebody is doing this purposely, which is also possible with Neptune in Pisces. And this, I can say as an astrologer, that in a way this culminates in September 2021, and from this month onwards, there will be a growing awareness and development of tactics for further life and survival. We need to know that we are dependent, all of us are dependent on virtual images and virtual life, which often has nothing to do with the reality at all. And we have to know that the internet and media can place any news or any image in the world, and any disease, we will believe that it exists, or any medicines, and make us to rely on that. We have to know this. It's very important. But like any other combination, also this combination around the full moon can have positive effects on humans. It can lead to creative ecstasy, for example, and it can lead to awakening of a spiritual level of us, unfortunately not without crisis. So first crisis and then this, some sort of awakening. So in order to better orient yourself in September and better understand yourself in the context of given aspects, I have some questions for you, very simple questions, which will encourage you to think about yourself. So the first question is, did you depend on media, news, or videos on YouTube? The second question, can you turn off all news and all medias for 3 days and be satisfied and fulfilled with yourself? Maybe be alone and be fulfilled completely with yourself, satisfied with yourself. The third question, do you have desires for creation, to create something? Or do you have any desire for spiritual upliftment? And if you have you found your own way, perhaps stable and satisfying way, to manifest these your needs? The fourth question, do you have a fear of disease? From which disease, try to say. And what are you able to do to permanently get rid of this fear? Because I have to add here, it is okay if we have fear, which comes occasionally because this is some sort of instinct that warns us of something. But to be constantly afraid, year and a half and longer, it brings certainly some sort of disease, at least mental, spiritual disease, if not any other. Okay, the fifth question. Are old friendships falling apart, and do you feel the need to change people? And the sixth question is, do you feel lonely in your beliefs? And if you feel lonely in your beliefs, where and how you will find like-minded people? I warn you here that virtual like-minded people are not the best solution. In time, it will be necessary to find people that you know personally. Because now we will all see that living in this virtual world is not the way how humans can live. So I formulated those questions not only based on the energy of Pisces in Virgo, based on on Pisces in Virgo, but also considering Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, which affects social change, imprisonment of people, this is lockdowns, restriction of movement, and changes in interpersonal relationships. So I took all of this in consideration. So we will see some development here in the next 6 months, especially after this full moon in Pisces. Well, and you know about Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. I spoke about that in many of my videos. While Saturn closes and restricts people, Jupiter connects people and connects especially people who have the same idea or the same knowledge. So let's be free of any fear. We are not alone. There are a lot of things that we need to understand. And we will learn about that, which game is about here. And we, of course, have a right to accept some social rules and not to accept others and to fight for our rules, for our society, and so on. And you see, of course, that there are many protests in the world, especially now in France. So many things will happen and this year and especially next year. And, of course, we will be liberated in any or another way. Although the Virgo-Pisces axis is active, and we can talk about health in many ways, I choose to talk about this addiction. But people's health has been called into question in many ways in today's time. So-called passports, green passports, are being introduced in many countries, which means actually that people cannot be cured in hospitals if they are ill, if they do not have this passport, which is some sort of Auschwitz that Germans were using in the Second World War, and we definitely live in some sort of neo-fascism, and I spoke about that in details in my video for August 2021. Now, for now, I'm not speaking about other aspects of health, but it is important to be spiritually and mentally strong, first of all, physically also, to use prevention, to eat healthy, use healthy herbs, and have patience. This is what we can do now. At the beginning, we said there are a lot of planets in Libra, and that are going to be made great efforts to overcome conflicts and contradictions that we will see in September. So it is very good that we have this active this air sign through Libra and Aquarius, through Mercury in Libra, because we need some sort of a balance with these energies that are coming through Virgo and Pisces, especially Pisces, this water energy. And now at the end, let's mention briefly what September will bring to each zodiac sign. We talked about Virgo and Pisces, and let's now say a few words about other. So Aries people can be very active and can work hard in the first half of the month. So if they wanted to do something, they needed strength, physical, mental, or any other, this will be good time. Taurus and Libra have very good period, first 10 days of September, because of the good position of Venus. So they will feel attractive, they will maybe buy more things or do something aesthetic for themselves and so on. Gemini people are quite active, especially mentally active, but should be very careful not to be overly confused or nervous around the September 27th, when Mercury will become retrograde. Actually, all of us should mark this day in our calendars and perhaps not to do anything, especially not buy things or not to make any agreements around the 27th of September. Then crabs, these are these Cancer people, we call them crabs, and Scorpio people are very sensitive, especially in the second half of the month. So you will see what to do with this sensitivity. But Scorpios have a quite a good beginning of the month, especially first week of the September, where they will have strong will. So it's also time to do things the same as Aries people have, the same energy in this position. Leo people can pay more attention to their finances if they want. They can earn more money or solve some money question in a positive way in September. The best days for Sagittarius are September 6th and the September 20th, when they will communicate in the best way. And they are not really good communicators in the last year and a half. Then Capricorns are lucky, especially until the 22nd, while Sun will be in Virgo. So every Capricorn will have at the moment trine from Virgo, and it is always pleasant to feel that. Aquarius have the best period until the September the 10th. It will be good for relationships, intellectual work, and partnership life. So that's all for now that I wanted to tell you for September. Feel free to schedule personal consultations with me if you want. My web pages are www.symbolicthinking.net. So there you will see that I'm involved in astrological psychology and spiritual astrology mainly. Also, I offer consultations based on Thetahealing, which is some sort of energetically spiritual healing, and I also offer consultations based on Feng Shui. At my site, you will also find online astrology course for beginners. I don't have many things in English, but this course I made in English. So if you want to learn basics of tropical astrology, go to this Symbolic Thinking and order this short course that you can actually do and you can follow each time when you are online on your mobile phone or on your computer. There I spoke about astrology or astrological symbols through nature or through the path of the sun. So it is very easy to learn astrology when you think of the path of the sun. This is how tropical astrology works. Under this video on YouTube, you will see my contacts and all of this that I mentioned, my videos and so on. So if you like the video, like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And thank you very much for that in advance. And until next time, I wish you to live your real life and to switch on your computer for a while and enjoy the reality and enjoy your life like in naturally and fully. Let's say it like that.